Yo guys, it's time to talk about part 2 of my story. So in part 1, I was mostly talking about some side points, some some stuff. I was talking about the 16 plots of mine. And now it is time to go and talk about the other 16. AKA, let's go ahead and think about lo-fi. Dear lo-fi. Now then, sorry for the little interruption. This Topman is a spy. When you have 16 series, you tend to forget a little bit what each one means, especially when you're calling it stuff like Dear Lo-Fi and not like Dear Spy. But yeah, so this is a spy topman. His grandfather was a big name, but after his death in the war, or disappearance in the war, I should say, Topman got a hit on him. So essentially, everyone in the world, like the enemy side, won the war. So this would basically be like, okay, when I think about this story, I think about what if Germany won the war, but they were just like people just like us? Because there's people always say like, oh, why do the good people always win every single war? But that's just because it's made by the winner. The morality is made by the winner. So it's not going to be Germany. We're not doing any real history stuff. It's just like going to be the enemy force which did bad things. But our side also did bad things. But they won the war. Essentially, they turned the world into something else, right? And they put a hit on anyone who was related or even had any participation in the war previously. So it's essentially just, taking out any competition or anyone who might, threaten their security. So they put a hit on a child Topman. So Topman grows up and... Excuse me. So Topman grows up and becomes a spy. So he's like doing inside jobs. He's doing all that, stuff that, people do as a spy. Let me put on some music. Okay, I'm not gonna put on any music. But yeah, Topman's basically becoming a spy. But then one day, the grandfather comes back into his life and is basically like, yo, Topman, come to me. He has a plan to win the war in the end. And it's up to you, Topman, to see what you want. Because your grandfather abandoned you. And it's a choose your own story still. Man, I gotta be respectful to you guys. I haven't even, shown my respect. I am Megaverse. I am making a choose your own story, which will be free on Webtoon. It has music in it. I'm hoping to build a community. In order to make this comic or make this idea, I need a big enough audience. AKA, I need to talk to you guys. Pitch this to you guys. And I hope you guys like it. So I'm just going through each of the plots. So maybe you guys will be like, oh yeah, this guy actually, has some common sense when it comes to storytelling. I'm interested. Well, you haven't seen my storytelling, but you've heard my ideas. So this Topman is a spy. And, the first thing you have to do is find your grandfather. And that would be part 1. And then part 2 would be trying to take over the world and trying to, win the war. But that would be completely up to you. That's your choice. Because it's your story. But yeah, the first thing that happens in this story is you are already on a mission to wipe your... Because you are known as the invisible man. You are the invisible man because no one can track you. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Already 5 minutes in. I'm sorry for wasting any time. Let's get into it. Also, put your hand away. I have to draw those. Okay. I am really excited to tell you guys about Cloud. Dear Cloud. Okay, this is a story I've actually. Let me have a little bit of a story time here. I've had this story in the back of my mind since I was a flippin' kid. Since I was in second year. Yeah, that's right. Second year. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna have an international audience, but that's basically like middle school age, you know? Middle school, secondary school, but the second year of secondary school, that's what I'm in the UK. So I'm in the second year of my secondary school. That's when I had this idea. Yeah, that long ago, I had this idea. And guess what? Guess what I did? I did nothing. I tried to make the story sometimes, but then I was like, people aren't really gonna fuck with it. So I'm really excited to tell you guys about this story in particular. I love all of my stories equally, right? But this is just one which I brought back. I have another story which also has elements of stuff which I didn't use before. But this one's just a way, way older concept. I love all of them though, and I hope you guys do too. But essentially, this is an isekai. It's an isekai. That time I got reincarnated as a school building. And you have to go back in the past and help yourself get through school. I had a really bad experience in school. I had a really bad experience. So if I could go back and help myself, I would. And you know, that's what this story is about. I really hope you guys like it. You have the chance to see what all your classmates did after they graduated. The main character Topman's life isn't going so well. He actually dies, right? He dies. And that's why he got reincarnated as a school building. There's going to be other ghosts which have to do their own thing. There's going to be like a little like isekai world above as well, which will be more like a Konosuba, you know, fantasy adventure that you can explore. But mostly like stay within the school building, because that's where that's where like the main meats are. But you can do whatever because it's a choose your own story. And that's just a story I'm really interested in. Essentially, for Dear Cloud, that time I got reincarnated as a school building is like the best summary I can give. There's gonna be so much. I'm really excited, and I really hope you guys are too. I sound so much more passionate about that one than my other ones. I love all of them. Anyway, next we're gonna talk about Dear, I think Brazilian. Let me open it. Sorry guys, sorry. I'm gonna cut this out of the video. Megaverse, cut this out of the video. Okay. Chiptune. Video games. The world is being sucked into a video game. And you, as Topman, who was trained by your grandfather, but then you guys had disagreement. I'm not going to tell you why, but it has to do with morality and why you want to save the world. But essentially, you have to defeat the game. Otherwise, the game will suck in the rest of the world. You know that one regular show episode about like the audit with Rigby's brother, and he's trying to give like sugar to everyone, but then the world around them is like getting digitalized? That's happening to the whole world. It's all getting digitalized. But if you beat the game and beat the evil spirits within the game, or evil characters within the game, you get to save the world. And that's what Tom wants to do. He has his own reasonings to do this. So essentially, he was trained with his sister under the guidance of his grandfather. But you two had a disagreement over why he wanted to save the world. And therefore, Topman went on his own. And then the family followed him. There's this group of gamers. Oh my god, that sounds so cringe. Trust me, I love the story. But there is a group of gamers, right? And they are the group which is trying to beat the game, you know, specially trained gamers trying to save the world. And Topman is just above them because of his secret training. And I would go into power systems, but I'm not going to go into it yet. Just know that there are king frogs with authority. What? Anyway, that's their chiptune. Next, we're gonna go into lo-fi hip hop. Dear lo-fi hip hop. I'm singing in the house. Nowhere again. Okay, so let me tell you guys about Dear Hip Hop. Okay, guys, I remember the story. I'm really excited to bring you guys Dear Lo-Fi Hip Hop. These are not the final names, by the way. These are just the names I came up with before. But essentially, right, this is another version of Topman which has succeeded. But this one is over 100 years old. So essentially, Topman succeeded in his quest. He slayed the Demon King, or the devil in this case. And he saved the world with his abilities that he got when he was younger. And now he lives on a house in the middle of nowhere. He has complete control over his soul, complete control over every single power which will happen in other series. The classic one in particular. But essentially, this Topman is just, you know, going through life and he's just overpowered. He's the strongest. But then, people try to resurrect the Demon Lord again, right? Like, his old crew tried to, like, resurrect the Demon Lord after these 100 years. So Topman, who's just been alive this whole entire time because of, you know, he's OP. He sees, like, this biker group coming towards his house, which is in the middle of nowhere. And they try to rob him, not knowing that he's Topman. He easily defeats them. You, in this story, you're powerful. There's gonna be internal struggles. Struggles with the world itself. That you, after 1,000 years, some of them you just can't fix. This story is going to take a lot of brain power, because it's like, how do you make the most powerful being vulnerable? I'm excited to write this story. But yeah, essentially this is going to be the oldest Topman, over 100 years old, who already defeated the Crest. There's going to be old enemies from his past popping up again. New enemies as well. Stay tuned. Anyway, for my next story, I know that one was kind of short, but I really don't have much to say about that story in particular. And the only reason why I don't have a lot to say about that story in particular is because there just wasn't much to say. Like, in terms of what I think about in terms of the story so far, like, I'm still a novice in that story. Unlike the other stories where I've been thinking about them, you know, for a while, this is another story which I've thought about for a while, but I want to take it in a whole new different direction. But essentially, one of the biggest inspirations for this story was Cuphead. I'm thinking about, what if 100 years later, someone like the devil tried to do something again? Or King Dice tried to do something again? It's the after story. This whole thing is an after story. I'll be sure to give more updates as time goes on. But please, if you are interested in hearing any more about any of these stories, click subscribe. Hit the bell so you can see when the next update's coming. I know I'm a novice YouTuber. You don't know me. I don't know you. But you definitely don't know me. And I want to know you. I don't know if you want to know me though. That's the thing. I hope that you want to get to know me, because I want this big audience to enjoy my comics. And I'm trying to make comics which I think people will enjoy. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Dear Brazilian. Yes, based off the Brazilian music. This one is, hey yo, if you're an anime fan like me, harem time, romance. This one is a romance. Well, it's an action romance or comedy action romance, blah blah blah. Essentially, it's gonna be a harem. There's gonna be these 4 girls who fall in love with Topman. Topman is like this rich. He's not a snob, but he's this rich guy, right? And he has like neglected parents. He has parents who neglect him, right? So this version of Topman wants to go out and find his grandfather. I didn't even talk about the grandfather for the last one. That's because he's dead. Because the other one is 100-year-old Topman. This one wants to find his grandfather. You know, he lives remotely, right? But he's been cut off from the family wealth. But now Topman's like, I don't want to live with my parents anymore. I want to live the simple life. I want to live with my grandfather. This one has a lot lower stakes than the others. While the others are more like, oh, if you don't do this, you will die. There is going to be death in every single series. But this one's more so just like a romance, bro. You know, typical high school romance genre. I want to make it more like, you know, the good ones. Love is War. That's my favorite romance. Love Complex. Oh, what else is there, man? Horimiya. Although I didn't finish Horimiya, so let's take that back. Yeah, I really love Love is War. But, you know, harem stuff. I watch a lot of harems and shit. Right, I used to. But, you know, you have your typical magical senpai, stuff like that. It's gonna be a nice little romance. These kids are high schoolers in this timeline. I might age them up a little bit. Yeah, I'm probably gonna age them up. Forget what I said about high schoolers. They aged up. The reason why I want to age them up is because they're going to be going through some situations. And also, the only reason why I said high schoolers was because I was relating it to Love is War. When I do want my thing to be a little bit different. Have a little bit more adult romance, you know? There's going to be brothers, like their brothers who wants to like stop you. There's going to be time traveling trains. A bunch of stuff that I am so interested in showing y'all, because I love the romance genre. I love rom-coms. I want to show that love with you guys, if you guys are willing. I know that wasn't the best description of this story, like, oh guys, I'm making a harem. I'm making a harem. Like, there's a bunch of harems. What's so unique about it? Other than the fact that it is a choose your own story, which you can choose your romantic partner near the end and essentially choose your own route. But that's basically like a visual novel at the end of the day. But yeah, there's going to be powers, time traveling trains and shit. It's going to be really supernatural. And the girls go from Yankee to oblivious to clueless to very serious. There's a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry if that one wasn't like the best description. Some of these stories I'm still thinking about, but I'm just interested to know that you guys are interested. Next is Dear Hip Hop. This one is 5 different Topmans. 5 of them. 5 different Topmans. Now, let me talk about this, bro. Why is there 5 different Topmans? They're quindruplets. They're quindruplets. They're quindruplets. They were just born that way. But essentially, okay, this one has to be one of my favorite stories, because I can do so much with the 5 different Topmans. One of them is going to be the smart and reliable one. The other one is going to be the hard-rooted, you know, just minor type. Not with an E. Minor with an E. Strong. The other one's going to be, you know, the more impulsive type. Oh, there's so much. Because there's going to be like this gang of people who look really weak, but they're actually some of the strongest group in the whole entire world. And they're going to join up with the red Topman. There's going to be different categories. We have light blue, dark blue, yellow, orange, and red. Those are the colors of the Topmans. The yellow one is going to be in the casino. The dark blue one is going to be in space with space cats. And the main plot is that there was this puppeteer guy in the sky, right? This puppeteer guy in the sky, and he was like stealing all the people. And he stole the grandfather who raised them. And because of that, now they're on their mission to kill that puppeteer so he can release all the people. But if you do die in this, you don't have to go all the way back. You just have to continue and not lose all your topmans. Because if every single topman dies, then you have to go back. And there's 5. It's one of my favorites. Because there's so much you can do. Like, and I thought about plots for a lot of them as well. Like, the fact that the cat one wants you to solve, like, a bunch of issues going on in their society. There's going to be water wizards and like a giant crab for the orange one. And you basically have to repair their society while also learning the secrets about their society. The red one has to travel along with these misfits and essentially just, it's like the Straw Hat Pirates in a way. And that's why, I think that's why I'm most excited. Because I get to make a group of badasses who don't seem like badasses. The other one is a casino. He's like really smart, really tricky, and he's trying to get information that way. And the light blue one has to solve murder mysteries or have to fight. There's so many different pathways, guys. And last but not least, I want to talk about horrorcore. And this one, I have completely changed. So there was originally a group of superhumans. And these superhumans, right? These guys were a problem. So I mean that in the best way possible. So there's an issue going on with the monsters, like Halloween monsters and humans. Both are trying to get dominion over the earth, become the top of the food chain type shit, you know? Chimera ant type shit. Excuse me, I need some water. But essentially what's happening is the group of superhumans on the human side go in to fight, but they all die in the process. They get chopped up by like one of the top monsters. And that top monster is the grandfather of the whole monster society. So they all get chopped up. They all get chopped up. But essentially, after that, they all come together. All the bits come together and they form Topman. Topman is the name of the project for eliminating all monsters. That's not the actual acronym, obviously, but that's why Topman's there. And he's on the human side, but you get to pick which side you want to be on, right? There's going to be pumpkin-headed people trying to stop you. There's a whole evil corporation. You have to do interviews with an ex-witch girlfriend that you had. Well, one of your parts had, because you are a completely new person made up of some of the strongest humans that have lived. And with that said, that is the last one. That is the very last one of the 16. Now, I want to say this again. If you guys are interested, please join the Discord. It lets me know that you want to actually take this seriously, because just subscribing doesn't really do all that much for me, because I want to know that you guys really are going to be there when this drops. It's going to be completely free. So for one of the last times, this is a completely free project. I have one of the scripts done for the classic one. I'm going to make scripts for the rest. But in order for me to put in that much effort into this, I want to build up a little community first. I want to know people want to see this comic. Stop. You're going to have to animate those hands. I want to see yo there. I want to see you there. And like when it does drop, there's going to be like something in the Discord saying like, hey, it's dropped. Go. And then you guys can just go and enjoy the story. And I'm not asking for anything much. I know I sound like a beggar, but just join the Discord, chat to me. You know, it will be nice, man. I am a 20-year-old man, by the way. So if you are of the under 18 group, please do not expect me to, you know, chat to y'all for long, or like, please do not expect me to like really, you know, chat to y'all, because One thing I'm not is I'm not gonna be one of those, YouTubers. You know the ones. I don't want to say on camera. I don't know if YouTube will block me or not if I say it. But essentially, if you are 18 and up, let's talk more. Let's chill. But if you are 18 and below, I still appreciate your contribution. Just join the Discord. It'll be chill. Ask your questions and shit. I'll be happy to answer any questions in the comments. Anything. It will be chill. I hope these videos have convinced you that I am more than my loser self, because I want to make something which really pleases you guys. Once again, this is the type of story that I would be like so interested in if I was a kid. It's coming out volume by volume, so what I want to do is I want to pre-make the first 2 volumes, and then I want to drop volume 1, and then set a time for volume 2 while making volume 3. But in the time of making that, I actually just want to figure out the story for a lot of these. A lot of things are very unclear right now, so I'm sorry about that. But one thing is definitely clear. This is something I want to make. This is something I want you guys here for as well. Now, the comic will drop when I have enough followers, like supporting followers who are actually going to be there, because I don't want to make this about money, guys, but I'll just say this now. It's going to be a lot easier for me to continue to make these high budget, stories if I'm getting paid. And I do not want you guys to spend a dime. I just want to get paid through ad revenue, but that requires a bunch of people. So let's see how far we can go. New videos are dropping anytime. I have enough videos now to edit. I really do appreciate everyone who's chilling with me. I love you all. Take care. And if there's anything you want me to change about these videos or whatever, let me know. I'm happy to change the format, change a lot of stuff. Let me know.